Hello. Hi there. Hi. Welcome to AIM Golf Academy. My name's Lou. I'm just kind of laughing. We just got all set up here and I'm trying to make sure the lights are all good and that we're ready to go. I'm coming to you from the east end of Toronto, Primal Academy. And Primal Academy is actually a full level fitness facility that my son owns. He's one of the partners here, and they've got an MMA studio as well with mixed martial arts. Anyway, so I thought we'd just come from this location where we've got all these great weights, all this great equipment, and we're going to be doing about a 35-minute mobility session today with you all, focusing our attention on full body mobility and rotation. We're going to use a stick today, so if you've, before you get started, I'll just wait a minute. We'll do a couple of other things, but if you happen to have one of these dowels or sticks, and if you don't, your golf club is also certainly good, even a Swiffer brush, anything that's got some length and no weight. So we don't want very much weight. This is more about mobility and how a stick is such a great prop for us to use for mobility. Okay. And if you've seen any of our series before, we focus a lot of our attention on really being present, if you will, into what it is that we're doing. And that requires a little bit of concentration and focus and breathing as well. When we focus on our breathing, it allows us to be here present in the moment. It's very common for us. In fact, I was on a conference call today where I was being led through a meditation and mindfulness practice, and it was just a brilliant professor from the United States that was leading this practice, and we were doing this online. And I was actually a little bit distracted and doing some emails, and she was saying, being mindful is not about listening to me and doing your emails. It's almost like she was watching me. It was just insane. So it's kind of funny. So what we always want to do is just bring some focus and attention to our breathing at first, and then we try and stay with that, because when we do that, it's, we're taking something out of an automatic pilot control into a manual stick shift control, for those of you that remember driving a stick shift. So we have the ability to tap into our breathing, and that's what we're going to do. And then we'll get into some great body movement after that. So we're going to stand up nice and tall wherever you happen to be. You're going to have your arms by your side, keeping your elbows straight. You're going to lift the shoulders all the way up into your earlobes. Take a big breath down deep into your belly, and then fully exhale. Now we're just going to spend a couple moments here breathing. So breathe in through your nose. Again, this is just part of the exercise. Nice big breath comes in, and if you notice, or maybe you can't notice, but I'm not flaring my chest out when I breathe. I'm trying to actually breathe deep into my belly, and in fact, when I breathe, it's almost like pushing that belly forward. Now, what that does is it engages your diaphragm, which is this big, huge saddle-like a muscle that is tucked underneath the rib cage. And when we breathe deeply, it goes down and inflates our lungs, and that's what we're trying to do. But many of us have become chest breathers, where we breathe superficially, tiny little breaths up here using neck and shoulder muscles versus this big diaphragm muscle, which is what we're trying to do. So let's just do that. We're going to breathe in and out nice and deep, maybe for the count of 3 or 4 seconds. And you can also bring your right hand onto your belly, and then your left hand, just tuck it behind you, and you're going to try, when you inhale, to breathe into the spaces of your hand. All right, so let's try that a little bit. Breathe in deep so the breath goes down, 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 down. And when the hands can't move anymore, that's when you fill your chest up at the very end, and that gives you that full inhalation and exhalation when we get rid of all that stuff. So in and out, nice and slow. Let's count into 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for a second or two. Full exhale again for about 4 seconds or so. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, empty lungs for a couple of seconds, and then you breathe in again. And then we hold and exhale. Try and keep the shoulders and chest really calm until you're filling that area up for the very last part of the inhale. Okay, now we're going to take the hands to the side. And as you, in your mind's eye, are breathing that deep breath into the belly, you're also going to try and breathe out into your hands here at the side. So what we're trying to do here, if you look at the side of my body, really kind of a shape like a can. What I'm trying to do is exaggerate this breath and go into more of a drum-like shape. That's what I'm trying to create here, big drum shape. Now, it doesn't really flare out that way. This is just something that we are trying to do in our mind's eye of turning our body into that shape. So big barrel and then into a can. So barrel or drum, whatever you happen to think of, like those big wine barrels or beer barrels, whatever they are. And then we just go out to the side and in. Okay. And then we're going to take the arms down to the side, keep the elbows locked. We're just going to move into a little bit of movement through the shoulders. But before we do that, let's lengthen our neck muscles. For those folks like me, where we carry our tension through the neck area, if you're playing at later parts of the day after you've been working, chances are this whole space here is really tight. So you want to just loosen it up. I'll show you some movements that are really quite cool. You're going to turn your head to the left side. Very simple stuff. Just go as far as you can go. The open side here is the right side. I'm looking past the left shoulder, and when the head won't go anymore, I am going to engage the muscle tissue a bit more just to go, because there's always a bit more room. So you contract the muscle on the left side, stretch the muscle on the right side. And then we just turn the head over to the other side. You're going to look over to the right. You look past the right shoulder. So you're contracting the muscle on the closed side and lengthening the muscle on the left side. And then we go back to center. Now you're going to look up. We're going to keep our lips together, breathe in and out deeply through your nose. And as you continue to look up, you're then going to tip your head to the left. You might even have a little crunch when you do this. And then tip your head to the right. And again, very, very slowly. So we start to move into a range of motion that you may not normally be into, because we just don't actually do this, but we need to have access to this range of motion. So I just want to bring your attention to something. If we kind of just move around the course of the day doing these little head movements, that is what all this tissue is going to adapt to. And as soon as you turn your head in one direction, up or down, in any other direction than your normal course of action, you're going to feel tightness. And that's one of the reasons why this particular practice of what we're currently doing, this is called CARS, Controlled Articulating Rotations. It's absolutely critical that we get to do this all the time. I do this every single day, and sometimes depending on how I feel, I may even do it a couple times a day. All right, so let's just go back to that again. This time, so we went up and we went side to side. This time we're going to tuck chin into chest. You're looking at the floor, and it's a fairly active contraction here at the front, loosening at the back. And then you're going to, again, turn the head to the side, still looking down to the floor. Keep going. And then turn the head to the other side, also noticing if the left or the right side may change. Just think about expanding a range of motion. The ranges, or the motion is here. Now we want to make the range just a little bit greater. Again, over to the other side, so you're looking down. And one more time to center. Just check this out for a second. The other way to do this, which is also quite effective, especially if you're super tight, is to take the arms behind you and just hold on to your forearms. Very lightly hold on to the arms. It'll keep your shoulders back and down, and that'll allow the movement to really focus into that neck area, which is what we're trying to do versus this type of thing happening. So we want to just keep the shoulders down. Good stuff. Okay, let's just do that one more time. Go down. Tip side to side. So when you turn your head to the left, drop that right shoulder. Should feel really good. You can peek up a little bit at the ceiling if you like, a little bit of an additional stretch, and then look back down again. Drop the ear to the shoulder and just maybe peek up over the other side. Well, that feels quite nice. When I first started doing this, it was a little bit uncomfortable because my neck was really tight. Everything was kind of crunching around, and I thought, this is not that great. And you know what? After about 2, 3, 4 sessions of it, all that crunching goes away. Okay, good stuff. Now we're going to get into the shoulders a little bit. So we're loosening up all this space here, and now we're going to move into the shoulders. You're going to keep the arms straight. I'm just going to move here to the side and point the fingers down. You can also make a couple of fists if you like. Some people like to do that. And the idea here is that if you press your fist to the floor, Then you lift those shoulders up, and that keeps the movement all through the shoulder and not through the elbow space. So the arms are always straight, and then you go up, you go back, and notice I'm not doing any extension or flexion of the spine. This is really trying to isolate this movement just right here in that shoulder capsule. So I go up, back, down, and then forward, up, back, down, forward, roll through the movement. Great stuff. Eventually, this gets a lot easier to do, so you can even do this with weights. So sometimes what I will do is do it with weights. Let me get a couple weights and I can just show you. You can do it with lighter weight. You can do it with a heavier weight. It just depends. I typically, when I get warmed up, I will do it with a lighter weight for a little bit of resistance. So it's up, back, down, and forward. And you just keep those weights nice and heavy. And I also do this with a very heavy weight. I use about 100 pounds in each hand just to build up some of the neck and shoulder muscles. Okay, neutral position. From here, I'm going to lift up and this time go forward. And again, not this forward. I'm standing. It's the shoulders rolling or the arm rolling forward as much as I can, down, back. And I will tell you, when I first started doing this, my chest is moving around, everything's moving around because my arms were not isolating in the movement. So again, forward and back and around. Okay, good stuff. I'm just going to put these weights down. I want you to think about the concept of doing this this series of mobility practice and how your body works. Is what we're trying to do is firstly isolate shoulder with the arm, isolate, and then we activate. So we activate by movement and then integrate into full range of motion. So we activate through the movement and then range of motion for the integration. So that's kind of how it works. So we do want to be able to lift an arm without something else kicking in somewhere else because we're super tight. Okay, lift the hands up and just move through the fingers a little bit now as well. Even the fingers need love. Everything, every body part needs a lot of work. So think about the piano keys. And then we open and close. I'm finding more folks having some challenges with opening their fingers wide. Like I asked someone to open their hand a little while ago and they gave me one of these. And I'm saying, no, open it up, one of those, like big opening, like trying to create space between your fingers. The more we're able to tap into the various joints of the body, the healthier our body is. Okay, now we're going to open and close. So squeeze as you open the other one, and then switch. Okay, so we just switch it up. There we go. Switch and switch a few times. And then we're just going to go open and close on both. And if you're not used to doing this, your arms can get actually quite heavy just by holding them in this position. You may start to do this. So you want to keep those shoulders down, arms straight, and just move through the action of open, close, open, close, open, close. Now we're going to close both. And let's just do a little bit of a extension flexion. Okay, so a little bit of movement here through the wrists. This is extension. This is flexion on the way down. So flexion down, you can do both. Maybe even check to see if you're in a line here. Like I think one of my, there you go. Are they in line? Nope, one does more than the other. How about down? Well, the down seems to be fairly similar. Anyway, we are typically different over one side or the other. Okay, so up and down. Now we go side. So we go to the side. How far can you go? And then you go in. How far can you go before you start to do this? Not that there's anything wrong with this, but we're just trying to stretch out that one space by keeping the arms straight. Okay, so this is focused on the wrists. And then we bring the arm, tuck it into your body, hold on to the forearm, and open the hand. Bring your fingers together. Think about the center of the palm lifting back towards your face. So you're not curling your hands and fingers over like that. You're keeping the hand straight, and then you're going to bring the hand This is so challenging because here's what happens. I want to get it close, right? So my fingers start to do this. I don't want to do that. I want to have the hand straight. Bring the hand up into flexion and then down into an extension just by using my own muscle strength. And then eventually, if I do want to go a bit more, I can hold on to the fingers and draw the fingers back into this position. So I have the range of motion, but if I let go, I don't have the strength in my forearm to pull the hands back. So I may want to work with that even by doing an exercise where you hold on to a weight and you would do this type of movement with the weight. You can also use a barbell and do both. It's usually pretty good. And you can also do these up and down this way. Start with very light weights, and this will build the strength in that space. And if you think about it, when we're getting ready to swing a club, this movement here affects things a lot. If we're not really strong through the wrist, the final point of contact will be right here. So you're going to have this type of stuff going on if you're not able to control the wrist and have that straight arm and the strength through that wrist space. Okay, so we really want to tap into that. Okay, bring your hands together, palms together, elbows lock into your body, and then with just a very light connection here, so I'm not super pressed, I'm trying to keep it just kind of light here, and really focusing on rotational movement. And by keeping the elbows together, I'm keeping the elbows and the shoulders out of it, okay? So that's what we're trying to do here. So you can go really one side, you can go to the other side, up and down, turn it into a bit of a circle or figure 8 type movement. And then you're going to go in the other direction. These are just some really great series of movements to do. And we'll do the last one, and then we'll actually start to move the arms fully into it. So the arms and shoulders, just move it all in. Okay, so let's connect up. Again, there's no right or wrong. This is just kind of a freestyle movement here. And we also lubricate the joints when we do this type of stuff. Because normally, again, when we don't move into these ranges of motion, guess what? We get gummed up and there's just no lubrication in those joints. So we definitely want to move this stuff around. Okay, good work, everybody. Just shake this out a little bit. Let's just do one last one. You're going to extend the right arm up, and you're going to go into extension. How far can you go? I know I have a greater range of motion, but I don't have the strength here to pull the hand back. So I'm going to assist just to go into range of motion. And later, if I have interest, and if you have interest in wanting to strengthen this up, you would pick up a weight of some kind and move into this type of action. Try and keep the arm, not move it like I am, but keep it steady when you're doing that lifting so all the focus is right there, okay? And then we're going to do the other side. So you go up. Now here you can see I'm much more vertical. If I stand where that, here's a wall. See, it's pretty good. It's not too bad. If I do it here, look at the difference. Look at the difference. Can I pull it back? Can I pull it back? Can I pull it back? Almost. But I really feel it all in through here. Now, I had surgery on my elbow 3 years ago, and this is the aftermath. So this obviously is weak. See, I just found that out. That's so good for me too. Okay, I'm gonna have a little sip of water, and we've got a few minutes left. So let's just keep going. So now we're gonna pick up the stick and move into some of the mobility work that we're gonna do. Little or bigger body mobility, not just the wrists. I love these sticks, and by the way, you can also use the stick for the wrists. You can do all kinds of movement just holding a stick, and then we can also hold and use the stick for mobility with the shoulder, just to kind of gauge where we're at. If you do an internal shoulder rotation like so, can you go all the way to get the stick vertical without lifting the shoulder up? And then can you go the other way for an external rotation, and how far can you go? And this is all I've got here on this one side. And then you can check the other side too. So you would do an internal rotation, See if you can grow. No, see this, no problem for me. Very, very easy. I have quite a bit of arthritis on the right side, so it's quite a big difference. And then external rotation, not all the way to 90. I don't believe many of us even have the full ability to turn externally, but that's pretty good, right to there. And then we again go in and out. Okay. Now we're going to move into some upper and lower body rotational type movement. This is really, really important for us to be able to separate the upper body from the lower body and vice versa. So the stick I find really helps quite a bit to create movement and also shoulder stability while we do this. So at first I'm just going to lift the stick up overhead and I'm lightly pressing in. So my hands are pressing in towards each other, holding the stick, but not very hard, just firmly enough so that the stick doesn't fall. And I'm going to do a little side to side tip. And it helps if you look up, because if you start to look down, you may start to lean forward, and then you're going to lose that plane of motion. So we go to one side, just get a nice little stretch here, and then you go to the other side, look up, maybe look past the underarm, get a nice little stretch here. Now lean back as far as you can. And then you're going to come forward, keep a straight spine as much as you can, come down. Get a nice big stretch. Now, from this position, I'm going to move the stick to one side. So I'm just going to move to the side so you can see. I'm going to tip this way. I'm looking down onto the floor and just turning my body, upper body, in these side-to-side movements. Okay. Come to center. Lift up. Good stuff. Okay, and I'm going to drop the stick down. Really good stuff. So that's a great way for us to get warmed up with that stick. Let's do a little bit more. What I'm going to do now is that full, so essentially what happens when we're doing a golf swing is we have to lean forward, tuck to the side, and then do a rotation. There's a lot of movement that's involved here, but we can mimic that with the stick. Now take your legs a little bit wider than you would normally do. And we'll just do this in a couple of different ways. We're going to do this wide-legged. We're going to do it a little closer, and then we'll finally do it this way. See how you feel with this range of motion. So let's go a little bit wider. So roughly, maybe about shoulder width-ish apart. Okay, again, no right or wrong, but about a shoulder width apart. I'm going to lean forward a little bit, and I'm right-handed, so I'm going to press the left hand into the right, look down, think about this rotation, and then I'm going to go the other way. Keep looking down. Press one hand into the other. It'll help you with the movement. The other thing you want to focus on here is the belly button stays dead center and pull the abdominal muscles in when you're creating this rotation, okay? So again, I'm going to come down. You want to bend over quite a bit, like so. And if this is about the position that I would be in, right? So roughly in this position. And then from here, I press the left hand into the right. I look down into the floor, and I just go nice and slow to discover what my range of motion is before the legs or anything else start to cave. So that's the other thing. This is very incremental, and we want to do this slowly. That's why the slow speed. So when I do this rotation, I will get to a certain point where I can't go anymore. And if I didn't have the stick here, I wouldn't probably not be able to twist like this. So this is helping. The left hand pushing into the right, but at some point, I'm going to start to do that. And that's totally fine. I just want to find what that transition, right that edge point before the lower body kicks in. So let me just give that a try. I'm going to one side, look down. I'm right about there. So I'm just going to hold here and then very, very slowly, just like 1 centimeter at a time, as I firmly press my feet into the floor, I'm going to push that left hand up towards the right. Hold, so no lower body part is moving. Hold, hold, hold. Maybe a little bit more, another centimeter or so. So I'm taking the right shoulder back as I look down. Nice neutral position. Take a break if you need to, and then we're going to do the other side. And I'm going to lean over. Also, remember, point of observation here. When you go left and right, it's going to be a little bit different. So let's see. I know my left is a little bit tighter. So I'm going to go left. Not bad. Hold. Now I feel it in the lower body. So essentially my right hip wants to shoot forward here. So I'm trying to avoid that. As I turn, hold, come up 1 centimeter or so. Maybe one more. And back to that neutral position. Okay, good stuff. That's going to be our mobility practice for today. Lots there to practice. Definitely the cars that we do, those nice rotational movements, I do encourage you to do them quite often. Grab a stick and play with the stick. There's lots, even if you just, if you're not able to watch our videos, but I do encourage you to, because we do record them so you can come back to it. But just think about the arms straight, one hand pressing into the other, and just find all kinds of rotational movements. And if eventually your lower body kicks in and stuff like that, that's okay too. Just see how that feels, but try and create a separation between the upper and lower body, especially when you're doing these rotational movements. I hope you enjoy the mobility practice. I will see you next time, hopefully maybe even live at Royal Ashburn. Have a fabulous day, everyone. Take care.